When you think of the Chevrolet Camaro, your mind probably jumps to the fire-breathing muscle cars of the 1960s and early 2000s. Names like the Z28, SS, and even the modern ZL1 dominate conversations about performance. But there's one Camaro that doesn't get nearly enough credit. The 1989 Camaro IROC-Z 1LE. This car wasn't just another sports coupe. It was a secret weapon built specifically for SCCA racing. With only 111 units ever produced, it remains one of the rarest and most underrated Camaros in history. And while it may not have had the raw horsepower of its predecessors, it was arguably the best handling Camaro of its time. To truly appreciate the IROC-Z 1LE, we need to go back to the late 1980s, a time when the automotive world was caught between two eras. Muscle cars were making a comeback after years of emissions regulations and fuel crises, but they were still far from their glory days. Meanwhile, the rise of road racing and autocross events meant enthusiasts were starting to value handling and balance over sheer power. Enter the 1LE package, an obscure option code that transformed ordinary Camaros into track-focused machines. What made the 1LE so special wasn't flashy marketing or big numbers. It was pure engineering brilliance. The story of the 1LE begins with Chevrolet's desire to compete in the Sports Car Club of America (SCCA) showroom stock racing series. To qualify, GM needed to produce a limited number of street-legal versions of the race car. The result was the 1989 Camaro IROC-Z 1LE, a factory-built sleeper that flew under the radar of most buyers. On paper, it looked like any other IROC-Z, Chevrolet's top-tier Camaro at the time, but beneath the surface, it was a completely different animal. At the heart of the 1LE was its suspension system, which received extensive upgrades to handle the rigors of track use. The standard shocks and struts were replaced with heavy-duty components sourced from Bilstein, a brand renowned for its high-performance dampers. These shocks provided better control over body roll and improved grip during cornering, making the car feel planted even at high speeds. The rear suspension was also upgraded with stiffer bushings and a thicker anti-roll bar to reduce flex and improve responsiveness. But Chevrolet didn't stop there. The 1LE package included larger front and rear sway bars, along with recalibrated spring rates to further enhance handling. Even the steering system was revised for sharper feedback, giving drivers more confidence behind the wheel. These changes might sound subtle, but together, they transformed the Camaro into a precision instrument capable of out-cornering many exotic sports cars of the era. Power came from the same 5.7-liter V8 found in other IROC-Z models, producing around 240 horsepower and 345 pound-feet of torque. While these numbers weren't groundbreaking, especially compared to the monstrous engines of the 1960s, they were perfectly suited to the 1LE's mission. The lightweight chassis and upgraded suspension allowed the car to make the most of its power, delivering a driving experience that prioritized finesse over brute force. A 5-speed manual transmission ensured precise gear changes, while a limited slip differential helped put the power down effectively on twisty roads. One of the key factors that set the 1LE apart was its weight-saving measures. Chevrolet stripped out unnecessary luxuries to keep the curb weight as low as possible. Sound insulation, air conditioning, and even fog lights were removed, shaving off precious pounds. This focus on minimalism gave the 1LE a curb weight of just 3,200 pounds, significantly lighter than other third-generation Camaros. Combined with its advanced suspension setup, this made the car incredibly agile, capable of pulling over 0.90 G on the skid pad, a figure that rivaled some of the best sports cars of the day. Despite its impressive credentials, the 1LE never received much fanfare outside of racing circles. Part of the reason was its exclusivity. Only 111 examples were built in 1989, making it one of the rarest Camaros ever produced. Another factor was its understated appearance. Unlike the flashy graphics and spoilers seen on other IROC-Z models, the 1LE wore a clean, no-nonsense aesthetic. It looked like a regular Camaro, which helped it fly under the radar of most buyers. For those in the know, however, the 1LE was a dream come true. A factory-built race car disguised as a daily driver. On the track, the 1LE proved its worth almost immediately. In SCCA showroom stock racing, it became a dominant force, taking countless victories against competitors like the Ford Mustang and Nissan 300ZX. Its combination of sharp handling, reliable power, and durability made it a favorite among racers who appreciated its balanced approach to performance. Even today, the 1LE is celebrated in vintage racing communities for its ability to hold its own against newer, more advanced machines. What makes the 1989 Camaro IROC-Z 1LE so fascinating isn't just its performance, it's the philosophy behind it. At a time when most manufacturers were focused on building bigger, louder, and faster muscle cars, Chevrolet took a step back and asked, what if we built something different? The 1LE wasn't about crushing quarter-mile times or producing ear-splitting exhaust notes. It was about creating a car that could carve corners with surgical precision, a car that rewarded skill and technique over raw aggression. In doing so, Chevrolet created a vehicle that was ahead of its time, a muscle car that could hang with Europe's finest sports cars. The 1LE's legacy extends beyond its performance on the track. It represents a pivotal moment in Camaro history, showcasing Chevrolet's willingness to innovate and push boundaries. While the third-generation Camaro has often been criticized for its styling and dated technology, the 1LE stands out as a shining example of what the platform was truly capable of. It demonstrated that a Camaro could be more than just a straight-line bruiser. It could be a sophisticated, well-rounded sports car. Even within Chevrolet, the 1LE package laid the groundwork for future performance models. The lessons learned from developing the 1LE directly influenced later generations of Camaros, including the modern 1LE variants that continue to be celebrated for their track-focused capabilities. In many ways, the 1989 IROC-Z 1LE was the blueprint for what Chevrolet would achieve decades later with cars like the sixth-generation Camaro 1LE, which combines razor-sharp handling with modern amenities and cutting-edge technology. For enthusiasts, the 1LE is more than just a rare Camaro. It's a symbol of ingenuity and ambition. It reminds us that greatness doesn't always come from chasing extremes. Sometimes it comes from focusing on the fundamentals: balance, precision, and driver engagement. The 1LE may not have been the fastest or flashiest Camaro ever built, but it was undoubtedly one of the smartest. And in a world obsessed with horsepower wars and headline-grabbing specs, the 1LE proves that subtlety can leave the biggest impact. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the most underrated Camaro ever built, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more stories like this. Until next time, keep those engines revving.